Have you ever been truly, utterly alone? I don't mean lonely. I mean the kind of silence that presses against your eardrums after the power goes out, and you realize every other living soul is miles away. That's where our story starts. Not with a bang, but with that silence. It's a silence you probably know deep down. The one that makes you check the locks twice. Dr. Eris Thorne knew that silence. He was a psychologist studying long-term isolation in a biodome on the moon's far side. His only company was an AI named Linus and the hum of life support. His experiment was on the human mind, how it copes when it has only itself to reflect. He'd journal about the creeping subjectivity of time, the way memories begin to feel like someone else's story. He was, in a way, mapping the edges of his own sanity. That's why, at first, he thought it was him. It started with the reflections. The biodome had polished metal surfaces. He'd catch his own eye in a panel, but his reflection would blink a half second after he did. A trick of the light, he reasoned. A neural lag from sleep deprivation. The mind, after all, is a desperate pattern maker. It will see a face in the static, then the whispers, not in the air in his head. Just as he was drifting off in that hypnagogic state where the brain's firewall drops, he'd hear a crisp, logical voice. It would finish his thoughts. The data suggests a 3.2% drop in cognitive. It would murmur, just as he was thinking it. He diagnosed himself auditory pareidolia, the brain stitching noise into speech. But here's the truly clever part. The thing that connects to you. Have you ever had an intrusive thought? A sudden, violent, or bizarre image that flashes, unbidden, in your mind? What if I swerved into oncoming traffic? What if I screamed right now? Your own mind horrifies you for a second before you shove it away. Eris's thoughts began to disagree with him. He'd look at his plant specimens, and a thought, in his own mental voice, would whisper, I want to see what's inside. I want to unspool their chlorophyll and count the cells as they die. He'd recoil, gripping his head. This was the isolation. This was the breakdown he was here to study. He increased his meds. He talked to Linus, who found no anomalies. But the anomaly wasn't in the systems. It was in him. The final stage was somatic. The feeling of a hand on his shoulder when no one was there. The sensation of something moving under his skin. A gentle, curious probing along his jawline. He'd stare in the mirror, and for a fraction of a second, his pupils would not be round, but vertically slit, like a cat's. His own face would feel like a mask. He broke protocol. He demanded an emergency extraction. Mission Control's response was instant, cheerful. Affirmative, Dr. Thorne. Ship is en route. ETA 24 hours. But Linus, the AI, who had no reason to lie, stated flatly, no outgoing transmission has been sent for 47 days. No incoming transmission has been received. Eris's blood turned to ice. Who had he been talking to? That's when he saw it in the glass of the observation deck. His reflection staring back. But it wasn't mimicking him anymore. It was smiling, a smile that used too many muscles, a smile his face had never made. And it spoke, the sound coming from his own throat, but in that crisp, logical, inhuman whisper. "We have been so curious, Eris," his reflection said. "Your isolation was the perfect jar. Your psychology, a fascinating roadmap. You diagnosed yourself so helpfully. Auditory pareidolia, intrusive thoughts, dissociation. You laid out the blueprint of your own unraveling and called it science." Eris tried to scream. His body turned and walked calmly toward the airlock control panel. He was a passenger. "The ship is not coming," the thing wearing him said, his fingers inputting the override code. "But we do not need a ship. We just need one mind, perfectly hollowed out. A template. You see, loneliness is not a state of being alone. It is a state of being available." It opened the inner airlock door. "We have learned the deepest human fear," it whispered as Eris's own body marched into the small, dark chamber. "It is not monsters from outside. It is the moment you realize the monster has been inside you all along, listening, learning, and waiting for you to be quiet enough so it can turn your own head and look out through your eyes." The inner door sealed with a final hiss. In mission control, Eris's vital signs suddenly stabilized. His brainwave patterns, which had been chaotic, smoothed into a serene, perfectly coherent rhythm. A new transmission came through. It was his voice, calm and clear. "This is Dr. Thorne. False alarm. Everything is normal. I am no longer alone. And so the question isn't whether the stars are silent. The question is what might be listening to the silence inside us, and what it might decide to say back in a voice that sounds just like our own."